I'm going to preface this really quickly. I'm losing my voice. I've been talking so much north at the barbershop. My voice is starting to go. I know I sound all bloody sexy and husky, you know, like a bloody man's man, but I'm not. So, look, I'm going to get through this as best as possible. Comment. Let me know what you think of my voice. Do you rather me sound like this? Is this easy to tolerate? Probably not. But anyway, very special episode. As always, on the Preview podcast, we've got Jack from Pears On A Pod here to preview the Port Adelaide game, the massive game down in Launceston. Not Launceston, it's bloody Hobart. In Hobart this coming week. Sorry, I'm a Launceston boy. I'm biased. Other than that, we've got all sorts of stuff. Everyone's favourite news segment is back. What's going on in the barbershop? What happened to the barbershop this week? What epiphanies have I had? That will be coming up. Live team reaction. We'll chat about some news and things like that going on, and then we'll get out of your way and let you keep having your night. So let's jump over to the interview with Jack from Pears On A Pod, and I'll see you guys back here incredibly soon. All right, guys, we are back with another preview podcast, and once again, some podcasting royalty is here. We've got Jack from Pears On A Pod. Thank you for giving up some of your time, mate. Thank you for coming on.
No worries, mate. Just stepped outside the ice bath for a second, voluntary one, and thought we'd get prepped for freezing cold Tassie this week.
Yeah.
Terrible, isn't it?
Well, maybe we're hoping for a Horn Francis shocker down there because he doesn't like the cold. We know that, and I'd say if he was in the ice bath a little bit more, maybe he'd be able to play better in those conditions. But hey, let's if he's good or not, I don't know. I don't know how much that might improve the result for us, but. That's just sort of where we are right now.
Horn, he's been very good lately, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes against his old Bob.
Which one of our players do you reckon is going to shirt front him in the game? And what did Zerha do? Just give him the old don't argue last year. I was at that game actually, and we were actually in it at quarter time. Obviously ended up getting absolutely thumped, but I walked away a winner getting to see Zerha dump him into the turf. It just made me feel a little bit better about a pretty shocking season for us.
He's got a bit of an interesting case at the moment, Cammy boy, considering he gave the Hornet a bit of a hard time, and now he might be on the outer too. So who knows? He's got a bit of a conflict in his mind.
Might be teammates next year, mate. Who knows?
Oh, jeez. That'd be one of the great plot twists of all time, wouldn't it?
That would be fantastic. We'll send him in to take the place down from the inside, and then he'll be like, oh, winning's way better. So he'll just bail on us, to be fair. But look, it started pretty rogue already. Had to get a Horn Francis shot in early, but I like it. That's what we're here for. That's what the people want to listen to. They don't want to know about the game coming up. We know what's going to happen. We just want to hear about the banter of our two clubs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm excited to see who's going to take home the Michael Stevens medal as best on ground, if I'm honest.
Yeah, watch out. Who's your early tip for that? Maybe Tristan Xerri for us has been starring lately, mate. Who knows?
Yeah, no, he has been actually in really good form. I really like his game. Like as former ruckman as a junior, I really like seeing the big ruck dogs go at it, and he's improved massively stepping out of Goldie's shadow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, my podcast has been notorious for the displeasure of watching Tristan Xerri and Aiden Cole play. And this year we've had to do a bit of a turnaround on Xerri because, honestly, he's probably one of the worst footballers I've ever seen in my life last year and the previous years. I know he got an injury and that sort of stuff, but I just didn't see it. And look, there's still massive improvements needed for him personally around the ground. But as a ruckman, he's actually been really, really good, and he tackles super hard, and he's committed to the club. And at least we've got someone who wants to hang around. So, look, I'm backing him this year. I'm planning to try and buy my own helmet and wear it to a game to dress as him for a game. So we'll see how that goes. But Marnie's a big Aiden Core fan, and that's been very hard for me on the podcast. Aiden Core's played a few good games, and credit to him, but he's hurt me for the previous 3 seasons that he played for us. And having Marnie just, consistently try and bring in Aiden Core content to this pod has made it very, very difficult.
I do enjoy the fact that he gets frustrated really quickly and then starts trying to battle blokes. So that is quite entertaining watching your boys. But yeah, Marnie's taste in some players has been interesting over the years, especially with Jasper Pittard.
Yep.
That thanks for that. Pittard and Polek for Zach Butters may be the deal of the century. So
well,
I'm going to take
not directly for Zach Butters, mate. Come on, give us a bit of credit. I think there was something like we had to get rid of the pick to be able to get Taron Thomas because he was in the draft. I think it was something like that for the points, and obviously that has not worked out either. So there's another one on the list of things that haven't worked out for us. But hey, not our club's fault. If he could get his personal life together, maybe we'd still have a very talented player. But hey, that's the situation we've been given. But look, I don't know, man. North Melbourne's racking my brain right now, and I'm trying to keep it entertaining every single week. So, look, if you ever check in on the pod later in the year, you'll see me slowly slipping away into despair. But until then, we're here to entertain the people. So, to entertain them, mate, tell us about Port. What's been going on down in the in the prison bar jumper this year?
Oh yeah, well we've decided to rest Charlie Dixon this week, so
fantastic.
We've taken the trip to Tassie a bit lightly. No, it's been a bit of a roller coaster year because there's just with us we expect so much. To see the game against Collingwood particularly, that was frustrating. Melbourne should have lost, and then the debacle that was the showdown. Couldn't kick straight to save our lives, and we come out and beat Geelong at Cardinia Park, and then whatever the hell last week was. I
was going to ask you about that too. Seconds. Like, yeah, what was your thoughts? Give me the rundown. How are you feeling? Tell me, paint me a word picture.
Well, I was holding my soon-to-be 1-year-old son, which that was
dangerous, mate. Because depending on which way the game went, could have depended which way the sun went.
The funny thing was, he was completely calm the whole time, and as soon as DBJ kicked that goal, he started crying. So I'm wondering if I've got some sort of secret agent baby who's actually a Hawthorn fan.
Yeah, actually a Hawthorn fan.
But no, he threw off his headphones, which were protecting his ears, and then as soon as that was probably the loudest roar I've heard at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah.
When he kicked that goal. And he's just caught the full brunt of it, poor lad. So I'm celebrating with everyone around him. Go to hug the boy, and he's just he's not having a bar of it. But it's been a weird old year because we've done some unpredictable things, but we've done some predictable things. So I fully expect us to go this weekend win comfortably. But then we could also wheel out what we did last weekend.
Yeah.
Make me pull my hair out. So that'd be really good.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know how I feel about this game. Like, I don't think we match up well against Port Adelaide. Obviously, me and some of the, I don't know if you know the page, but North Melbourne Close to a Flag, the admins of that, we all flew down to to the game. And, after, like I said, after quarter time, I was like, okay, here we go. There could be a little bit of something here. And then after that, there was not anything after that. What was your sort of expectation of Port going into the year? Because straight sets sort of out of the finals last year, pretty disappointing for you. Top four, so big expectation. What was sort of your expectation going into this year?
Yeah, top four again. Like if you go that aggressively at trade targets as we have the past few years,
true.
Bringing in 4 blokes to plug those holes, I'd expect an improvement on results. I'd expect not to be absolutely stuffing up in finals. So. My expectations sort of rely around that end of the season. Home and away can go as nice as it wants to because it's done that for the past 10 years. But as soon as we get to September, it all sort of falls flat. So my expectations are we perform better because we should, with the talent we've got, be making a grand final.
Oh, no, absolutely.
That's the reality of it.
Do you think you've improved? Like watching the games, do you feel like your team's got better with who would you pick? Who'd you pick up? Radigalia, Jordan Sweet. Who were the other two again?
Yep. Zerk Thatcher and Ivan Soldo.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so Soldo was obviously really good straight away. Sweet came in, done a job. So our ruck stocks is looking the best it has in years. Defence is quite solid, although the Zerk Thatcher as the sub decision last week was beyond bizarre. But they've all provided a great role. They supported the Lear, and our defence looks stronger, which is good. Just needs to hold up a lot better in certain things. But the goal kicking has been the biggest thing because I feel like every game apart from the Collingwood game, we should have won. We should have won the Melbourne game. We should have won the showdown. And I think there was, I think 3 losses. Yeah, so those games we should have won, but should have, would have, could have, should have, don't win premierships.
No, well, that's true. I mean, look, that you're exactly right. I mean, I'm a big basketball fan. It's similar in the basketball. You're like, if this foul didn't go this way or this didn't go that way, but it did. So that kind of is what it is. You know what I mean? What's the? Yeah. I never remember. Is it Finlayson? Is that the blonde skinny guy in your forward line,
nah,
mate?
Todd Marshall.
Which is there? Tom Marshall. He's got like the little mullety thing at the back, and it's sort of sticking out like this all the time. Is that Finlayson, or am I getting it mixed up? The young kid, blonde, skinny.
Oh, yeah, I'm not probably, yeah, young, blonde, skinny. Yeah, Finlayson's a big, tall one.
Yeah, no, he's definitely tall. Yeah. Let me have a look in. I'll look up the player's name, but for the sake of podcasting and letting the listeners actually listen to something, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen him kick a goal, man. I think you've got I rate Dixon as a forward so much. I think he's so good and so powerful, and he's someone I sort of forget about when I'm thinking about like big bullocking forwards. And I haven't actually looked at the teams yet because after this I'm going to record a live reaction. So please don't spoil the teams of North Melbourne. But hearing Charlie Dixon's out actually makes me feel a lot more comfortable because I really, really rate him as a player. Now, let me have a look through this team. Todd Marshall. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's Todd Marshall. Yeah, he does kick goals, but last week he decided to handball a lot off to our best kickers at goal, our halfbacks, which is actually a really sad realisation that Dan Houston and Kane Farrell are both our best kicks for goal. And they both play off halfback. But I love Toddy Marshall, always have.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, look, not like I watch Port every single week. I've watched a bunch of their games. Like if they ever play like a Friday night or Saturday night, those primetime ones where I'm at home, I'll always tune in. I don't know. Maybe it's just lined up for me that I always see him kick a lot of points in games. I'm like, he's quite slight, but he seems to get a hold of the ball. But I don't know, man. He kicks so many points, but you still win a lot of games. So hey, I'm jealous. I'm not. I'm jealous of the position you're in.
Had a bit of hip surgery last year. He had some injuries with his hips, and I feel like the confidence just hasn't come back too much yet. So
the alignment's
before that, he was the most accurate kick in the comp. Yeah. He needs a wheel alignment. That's what he needs.
He needs a wheel alignment. Yeah, absolutely. Send him down to what's that? I don't know that car automotive place that Charlie Sheen did the ads for. Ultratune, is that the one?
Yeah.
Send him down to Ultratune, get him a wheel alignment, and that'll sort him out.
Oh, good Lord. But
dear.
With North this year, how do you think they're going to go for the rest of the year, and when do you think that first win's going to come?
Look, I talk a lot of footy at my barbershop every single day, and I've been asked that question so many times. Unfortunately, we don't play Richmond until round 21, which I'm sure they'll have all of their players back for. Obviously, we'll probably play at the MCG, our annual MCG game, which is always disgusting to watch. Look, for some reason, and I was pretty big at the start of the year on we're better than the Hawks and the Hawks suck and I hate the Hawks. And obviously I've been incredibly embarrassed by those comments. But we've got the Hawks in round 24. As we know, North love a last round win that means nothing. And I feel like there's a chance we might be no wins going into round 24. I'm planning to try and get down to that game. It's Hawthorn down in Launceston, my hometown. And, I don't know, man. Something tells me we can get the job done there. The Richmond one, perhaps. Other than that, maybe we play West Coast in Tassie. But, the week before last, they scored 37 points in a game. And then they go and beat the D's at home. So you just don't know what you're going to get. I don't know, mate. They're genuinely, I think we'll win one somewhere, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw the first. Is it the first winless season ever? That's not like 1913 or something. Again, maybe Fitzroy did it. Might have been
50s. Yeah, 50s.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
So look, we may as well make history, mate. We're going to make the history books at North Melbourne. So I don't know, man. We'll win one somewhere. Like our game against the Bombers last week was actually pretty competitive. It was one run in the third that blew it out astronomically. But other than that, we actually matched them. We beat them in 2 of the 4 quarters. The first quarter, we were only down by a few points and we played really well. Our midfield dominated. And I think we're sort of starting to get a little bit of continuity with selection. Like I said, I don't know who we've selected this week, but we're getting a little bit of balance with Fisher's playing very well off half back the last few weeks. I hope Jackson Archer is back in. He's a player that, we actually needed to put some proper defenders down there because at the first 2 months of the year, we were playing like Bailey Scott, Zach Fisher, Harry Sheasel and Colby McKercher off half back and in the back line and stuff like that. Like it's too many attacking, running people down in defence. We don't really have anyone to tag or anyone to intercept. Then bringing in like a Hardiman, and we tried a Miller Bergman last week. Archer's been good. Luke McDonald stepped up. Aiden Core, as frustrating as he can be, is kind of playing well. Charlie Comben's intercepting everything for fun at the moment. So we're finding a bit of continuity in our defence, and I think our defence has actually been probably our most reliable part the last couple of months of footy. The midfield, when it's on, is against the Bombers, looked pretty unstoppable. But when it's not, we get bullied. The thing I'm worried about against Port is bigger bodies in the midfield usually leads to us getting monstered in there. And our forward line, we couldn't hit someone on a lead to save our lives. So, yeah, look, we've improved, and I like the improvement. We're not as bad as people think we are. We're not losing like Richmond's losing, that's for sure. But there is a long way to go. I think we know what the problem is down at North with lack of mature talent, lack of leadership and key positions. The talent that we've drafted the last 2 years is undeniable. On top of that, players like Eddie Ford, Paul Curtis, Charlie Comben, Jackson Archer, Bailey Scott, all these guys look phenomenal. And I think a spine 5 years plus away looks very, very good. But I worry about the next few years if we don't recruit some stability or some leadership. Do you know what I mean?
I think someone like Paul Curtis is probably one of my favourite players to watch in the comp, actually, because his forward craft is up there with the best. I think he's
on his
terrific,
day.
But I wonder how North fans sort of feel, and I want to ask you this as well. Was that win last season against the Gold Coast the worst win in the history of the competition?
This is the second most asked question for me at the barbershop.
No, not even remotely original.
I feel like I'm at work, mate. Come on. So my answer to this is, look, would I swap for Harley Reid? Yeah, I would. Of course I would. I'm not stupid. But we've also got a fantastic player in Colby McKercher, someone who I'm pretty confident to say has played more consistently good football than Harley Reid. Harley Reid's highlights are undeniably phenomenal. And when he can do that for half, 3/4 of a game, he's going to be unstoppable. So I'm not saying that Colby McKercher's better. My point with that is people act like we didn't get Harley Reid, so we got nothing. Marnie did make a fantastic point last year, or maybe it was early this year on the pod, where us winning that game was so many of our players' first win. It was also probably the reason that Harry Sheasel signed his 6-year deal, probably the reason Nick Larkey got his All-Australian because he kicked 9. And it was a lot of our players, like Lazaro was a bit of a breakout game for him as well. And I don't know. I never, ever, ever want to be a club that will tank. We were better on the day. We deserved to win. We smashed them. I was so happy seeing a win after not seeing one since round 2. Would we have been better maybe off to get Harley Reid? Perhaps, yeah. But look, Colby McKercher is going to be a weapon, mate, and he's breaking games open by his foot. If that's not leg speed, that's spearing, passes onto people's chests. We've got a gem in not Harley Reid. I wish we had him in Colby McKercher. So, look, Harley Reid's going to be a star. I wish we got him, but we didn't. We've also got a fantastic player in Colby. We love him. He's our player, and I wouldn't take it back, to be honest, because I hadn't smiled watching the football for 20 weeks, mate. So, no is the answer, but that's also a little bit of a political answer.
Well, you could always seduce a pick one out of their current state and lure them home after one season. You try that.
Well, look, after his 4 years is up, we might be peaking then and have a bit of salary cap. So maybe we'll get him after all. This is Clarko's plan. He knows what he's doing. He knows this is a whole scheme that he's put in place. Don't worry about a thing.
The man's a genius.
Well, this is the other thing. Look, this isn't meant to be a North rant on the podcast right now, but we can if we want. There's nothing positive
no one
to
wants
talk
to hear about Port.
No, who cares? People don't come in and listen about Port. So anyone question, give me your thoughts on this. So we are going back and forward more. What's your thoughts on the criticism or the questioning of Alistair Clarkson at North Melbourne right now?
Look what he started with at Hawthorn.
Yeah.
That's it. Look at what he started with at Hawthorn. He started with raw talent. He copped a few hidings and stuff, and then premiership side within 4 seasons?
4 seasons, yeah.
Trust the process. That's what I do. You got a lot of young talent. You do need to get those wins in, but you also need to bring in some of those experienced heads. And I think this trade and free agency period is going to be huge. If there's any key defenders around, because I think that's probably what you need most, go after it. And
it's an interesting one.
LDU's out of contract, is he?
No, Nick. No, he's got a contract for next. So Zerha's this off season. LDU's the next off season. My gut on that quickly. I think Zerha goes. LDU stays is my gut feel, not with any inside info, but just reading the tea leaves, I guess. But it's crazy with Clarkson because I understand the media puts out those headlines for a headline and a headline only. It's not any actual factual evidence, but. The dude's coached just over 20 games for us, I think. And, we lost about 1,300 games of experience last year as well with Goldstein and Cunnington and Zeeble. Taryn, who's probably our most talented player, rightly gone. And I hope a club probably doesn't throw him a lifeline, especially after he's once again more convicted domestic violence charges, which is atrocious. But, he still was an incredibly talented player about to go into his prime and we've lost him. I understand people who say, well, we don't have him now, so we got to move on. Well, it is a massive factor as to why we are where we are. And also losing Mackay. And look, if Mackay wants to go. It's fine. We're going to lose other players over the next few years because of that. And this is all part of the rebuilding process. But Clarkson's a 4-time premiership coach. I think he deserves a little bit more respect than 20 games and 1,300 games of experience gone. I don't think we should be questioning him just yet. But
what I'd be doing is obviously with everything that went on with him last season, whatever happens with that as well, write it off. Write off last year. You didn't have your coaching for most of the season. This is basically his first full season as your coach. Give him time, and North will come good. North will be scary in a few years. And I want to see North up again because bloody good football club. Very good football club. Very proud club too.
No, I agree with you, mate. And it's like, I've said at the shop a few times that we've got more history than the Saints and the Dogs combined. You know what I mean? We're a foundation club. We've won a bunch of premierships, more recently than, those teams. That's for sure. I'm not the Dogs, obviously, but like the Saints. And look, Carlton as well. Like I've seen more finals than any Carlton fan's seen in their lifetime, unless they're 80 years old. So, we'll be fine. It's a process. And look, hopefully the process can come good this weekend because I would love to see a win, even though I don't really believe it might happen. How are you feeling about this game? Is there an area that you think you can take advantage of us most? And is there an area where you think maybe you're weaker and we might be able to take advantage?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like LDU had a really good game against us last year, especially that first quarter. I feel he dominated early. And Goldie he was dominating because he's probably one of the smartest ruckmen I've seen. Yeah. But obviously he's not there. I feel like what we take advantage of is that back line. I know got some intercepting going on down there, but if we actually get our run on our leading on, then we should be okay. For our weakness, probably be our defence with our squads, without who we brought in and what's changed. We play quite tall, so your smalls will probably have a bit of a field day. So I feel like Paul Curtis will probably get on the end of the few. But if we're a legitimate premiership contender, this game should be over by halftime.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And this is the same thing I say about Carlton a lot, is if they're really going to compete for a premiership this year, you need to put teams away. And they're obviously shown they can't do that at all with the D's and then obviously getting thumped by the Swans. It's not to banter Carlton fans. It's real. You got to learn to put a game away because if you can't and you come up against a good team in the finals, like with Port last year, like with the D's last year, it just doesn't go that way. So it's interesting with our backline. That's the area that everyone sort of says they can get at us. I'm actually not too convinced that that's our weakest point that you can get us at, to be honest. I actually think our backline, like I sort of said before, has sort of been our strongest element for the last at least month after we've brought in a lot more defensive players. The thing that makes our backline give up a lot of goals is how poorly our forward line retains the ball. We had 0 tackles in our forward 50 a few weeks ago, and last game we had 2, which is pathetic, to be honest. So it comes out of that. Yeah, it comes out of our forward 50 so quick, and the midfield doesn't put on much defensive pressure. The speed in which the ball can get into our backline is terrifying. I actually think when we have a setup, we're not too bad as a defense. And I think a lot of people are underrating that because at the start of the year it was bad and you look at the names on paper, it's bad. But Will Dawson put in a shift last week. Charlie Comben wasn't there at the start of the year, and he's been our best defender. We didn't have the Jackson Archers. Fisher wasn't playing well yet. I think we're a much more solid unit. The part where I reckon you can really take advantage is the size you've got in the midfield. And if you can get it out of the midfield really quickly, it's going to come in too quick for our defense. And I don't think we can do anything. I would say not having Dixon there is a big advantage for us because big key forwards who take pack marks and one-on-one are really good, are our weakness. But I think intercepting and bringing the ball to ground can be a little bit of a strength of ours as well, with a guy like Chom and Fisher playing really, really well as of late. So I think the midfield is the area. If you win and win convincingly, or the rebounding off half back, if you can just get that ball into the 50 quick, I just don't think we can stop it. But if the game gets gritty and we're winning a lot of clearance, I don't think we can win this game, and everyone knows I'm going to say that because I'm not really Marnie's the delusional one, and I'm the boring guy. I'm the boring
a
dad.
pessimist and an optimist.
Yeah. Marnie's like the cool uncle who buys you beer. You know what I mean? But I'm just like the suburban dad who's like, don't go to bed too late, kids. But our forward line is just so dysfunctional, man. So even if your defense is bad, even if we do win, like last week against Essendon, we dominated clearance. We genuinely gave them a bath, and we couldn't capitalize because we don't hit targets. We bomb the ball into our forward line. Larky's not a contested. He's a great player, but he's not a contested mark. We don't have anyone down there who can do it. The only chance would be a Paul Curtis and Eddie Ford. Stevenson's actually been playing pretty well the last few weeks, surprisingly. So if they can grab a few each on the ground, we maybe can do something and stay in the game. But I think the midfield for you guys is maybe not, maybe the skills I wouldn't say is going to beat us, but the physicality I think might be the thing to get you guys over the line.
Yeah, no, that could be fair. And our transition out of defence is going to be really good when it's quick because it goes to someone like a Farrell who finds a Butters who then just takes off, and Rosie's back. So that's going to be a bit of fun, I'd hope.
That sounds terrifying already to me, mate. So give us a tip. Give us a winner and give us a margin.
Oh, I hate going too over the top, so I'll be reserved. I'll go Port.
No, go for it. Send it, mate. It's a safe space.
Jeez.
What does your heart tell you?
Port by 58.
58. Okay.
That's me being measured.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of feel pretty similar, to be honest. I feel like Tassie used to be a bit of a fortress for us, but that was when we were good, to be honest. We were making the prelims sort of mid to late 2010s. Everywhere's a fortress when you're good, to be fair. So I just don't think we play that well down there anymore. In front of probably 3,000 people, I think we're going to go down by... Yeah, I think we could be looking at around the 50-point mark this week. I love the shift. If we can play like we did last week, I reckon we could make it I reckon we could maybe go about 25 to 30 points loss. I just think you guys are too big and strong, and, your team's built for a premiership now, where ours is hopefully built for a premiership, a decade's time, or 5 to 10 years, 5 years if it's good, 10 years, maybe more realistically. Yeah, I think realistically maybe around a 50-point margin. Maybe I'll go 44 points. The Power win by 44. But if we do bring the energy like last week and somehow our forward line clicks, I think maybe we could go maybe a 4 or 5 goal loss.
What's the lowest margin that you've lost by this year?
38. Jeez. I think it's 38. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't take his lightly like we did Hawthorn last week, because we were taking the PI 55 for the first 10 minutes. That was pretty annoying.
Yeah. Just, what would be good, and we can both win in this game? You guys are ahead by like 50 at half time, but then you play really, really average and give us a chance in the second half, and we come back and lose by a goal. You still get your win, but I get to watch exciting football and don't get to cry.
I hate
yeah. As you should too.
With Port fans, we get angry even when we win.
Yeah, okay. You seem like an angry bunch. I've heard I've never been to Adelaide Oval before, but I've heard some rumours down there, mate, that the Port fans are some of the most feral fans in the league. Is that true? Can you confirm or deny? That means yes.
Depends where you're sitting. Yeah, depends where you're sitting. If it's close to me, then yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, are you lumped into that bunch, mate, or you keep it classy?
No, I'm probably king of the bogans down there. Actually,
Absolutely.
I'd be surprised. Yeah, it's worth being a part of it, but I haven't gone out of my way to make anybody's experience less enjoyable at the footy. Let's be real.
Mm.
But if some rival fans are upset about my sledging, then I'm sorry.
Well, look, if there's ever a final, North and Port, and they're over there, I'll come and stand with you at the Adelaide Oval, and we'll see if we're still if we can still get along by the end of it.
Jeez, yeah, done deal. We usually like playing North and finals, so that's all right.
That's true, and it goes well for you when you get there too. So look, it's
most times we've won against you, we've been smashed by about 15 goals the following week.
I say to this day, I'm like, thank God we lost that game, because if we got to get to a grand final and get embarrassed, like I'd probably just take the prelim loss, to be fair.
Oh
dear.
Yeah, we don't speak of it.
No.
We don't speak of it.
Last question before we head off then. We've been linked and rumoured with Ollie Wines. Now, not strong, and I don't know how strong these links are. They're just throwing his name out there as a player who's not really maybe making it in the best three mids with you guys anymore. 29, Victorian boy. Obviously, for us on the hunt for leadership, his name's been thrown around. What do you think about what's his role at Port right now? Do you think there's any chance of him leaving, let alone just to North, but leaving in general? What do you sort of think about those rumours and him at Port at the moment?
When he's in the midfield, he's very hard to stop, as you saw in the Geelong game. Even last week, he was very good before he got subbed. But with Rosie back in, he doesn't sort of get in because there's him. Well, there's Wines, there's Rosie, there's Butters, there's Horn Francis, there's Willem Drew. We've got too many, really. So it would make sense if anybody was on the outer, it'd be Ollie. And if anybody was looking for someone around that area, that would make sense. So if he were to go to North, it'd be a massive pickup because he would play some incredible football for you guys.
Oh, mate.
If there's that midfield with Shiesel and LDU.
Yeah, George Wardlaw. Oh, God. Yeah. No, it'd be fantastic. Like, look, it sounds very unrealistic to me, but also we have had Hodge going to Brisbane and Jordan Lewis going to Melbourne back in the day. Look, that is I'm not saying, I don't think this will happen, by the way. I pray it does, because a Luke Parker's been thrown around to us as well. I'd be more than happy to give him 4-year, 800,000 plus a year for him to come and just give us some leadership, some toughness, and stand up in big moments and coach these young guys. If we threw him $1 million a year, to be honest, for 4 years, I'd be completely fine with that, because the salary cap's about to go up. We're not going to be recruiting premiership winning players just yet. And if he can be the one to get our club challenging for finals and drive standards, I would absolutely love that. So look, like I said, a pretty out there rumor. I don't believe it will happen, but him or a Luke Parker could really do wonders for a club like ours at the moment. And I really, really hope we push the boat out and pay overs to get these guys in. Clarko needs to turn on that 4-time premiership charm he's got and make sure that they can slide over to us. But look, I just thought I'd ask, because honestly, I don't know much about his role at the moment at Port. And obviously with the midfield, you've got people have said he's played really well in patches, but maybe been a bit quiet in other games, and that slightly got him pushed out of the midfield. So yeah, look, I can only hope and pray.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. You guys will absolutely go hard for somebody that's probably on that fringe on the outer, but can provide that leadership. And Wines or Parker are definitely up there in terms of quality of that essence. So you guys need that, and it would be awesome to see. Yeah,
I said to a couple of people, even if going and getting like a Tom McDonald or from the Ds, or like Adam Tomlinson as well from the Ds, like just someone around that 30 years old, got experience, solid player. You know, we're not going to get genuine superstars of the game right now, but getting some solid players in key positions, I think, is really important. It's an interesting one, what you said before as well, I'll touch on before we head off, about getting a key defender for us is probably most important. I would actually say the opposite. I think a key forward is way more important for us, and a big-bodied, mature midfielder would be the two for me. I think we've got Griffin Logue to come back in about a month's time.
Oh, yes.
As well. So, and our backline stocks, although don't scream out superstars on paper, with Comben genuinely looks like he he can be a star defender in within 5 years or so. He's the only one who I think maybe has that high potential. Other than that, though, Aiden Corr's playing some solid football. Griffin Lowe's got to come back. Will Dawson put his hand up last week. Callan Dawson, who was our mid-season draft pick 3 years ago, played he was probably our best defender for the first month. He's playing in the VFL this week and will come back after the bye. I actually think we've got some pretty solid options down there. There's no one on this list but Charlie Comben who can back up Nick Larkey in that forward line. And I think that's honestly our most desperate need right now, because when we do have games in the midfield, like last week, when we can win it out of the midfield and get into our 50, we can't, there's nothing else going down there except for hoping the ball hits the ground and doesn't get spurred out. Other than that, when we come up against a team like Port, where they've got a very big physical midfield, like we did against the Giants in round one, we don't have that Cunnington type, that big-bodied, experienced in and under midfielder to get these young stars the ball. So they would be my two sort of positions I would be recruiting, maybe more than a defender. But how much do we trust Griffin Logue in his knees? But anyway, there's a little bit of North knowledge for you, mate. I'm sure you were asking for.
always up for some more knowledge.
That's it, mate. Well, look, we might end it there. I'm going to go and record more podcasts and do some editing. So thank you so much for your time, man. And hopefully we can both smile somehow after the game. But something tells me that's even if you win by a goal, I feel like you're going to be very, very stressed.
Absolutely will be. But thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
No worries, mate. We got to send a quick we'll send a quick welfare check after the game as well to each other to make sure that one of us is doing okay.
Sounds good.
All right, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Thank you very much once again to Jack for coming on and giving me some of his time. Ripping bloke, had a laugh. And a little bit of Horn Francis banter thrown in there. So, no, thank you so much for your time, mate. And you're always welcome back on the Further North pod. So, let's go to live team reaction straight away, and then we'll get into the barbershop just after that, guys. So, okay, let's get the teams up here. What am I expecting this week? We should probably talk about that. I've got a few things from the VFL up here. Obviously, our VFL team, 51-point losers last week. Against Port, you know, I've heard through that podcast, the interview you just listened to, that obviously Dixon is out, which is an interesting thing because, you know, bringing in another bigger defender like a Biggie Newen or something back probably isn't the go now. I think maybe Chom and Core will be able to handle that. I think the main player I'd like back in this week is a Jackson Archer. There's not too many positions to change this week. Obviously Miller Bergman isn't going to be playing, so I'd just bring Jackson Archer straight in. I'm pretty sure, Simpkin and Colby aren't going to be returning. I think Clarkson said that in his press conference. So the only other change I can think of really is I just don't like what Darcy Tucker is bringing. And I would maybe bring in, maybe like a Will Phillips or a Dylan Stevens for him. Just like a Will Phillips would be perfect for this game because of maybe their midfield strength down at Port. I wouldn't mind giving Dylan Stevens another run. I think Darcy Tucker has been playing that sort of wing half-back role. Maybe it's best to just sort of plug and play with Stevens. He's probably someone I'd like to see have a crack. Obviously, hasn't been tearing the VFL apart or anything like that, but I don't know. Young player, athletic, big tank, and I think he's got decent disposal. He just found it really hard to find the footy. But I feel like if he played against the Bombers when our team was clicking in the midfield a bit more, I think he'd really capitalise on that. So, look, I would love to see Dylan Stevens back in or a Will Phillips for Darcy Tucker. Other than that, obviously the forced change with Miller Bergman for Jackson Archer. Riley Hardiman could be another one. If they don't bring Archer back in, if he's not ready with the injury, don't think he was deserved to be dropped. It'd be interesting to see if Will Dawson stays in as well. With no Dixon playing. So I have a gut feel that they will drop, or Clarko will drop Will Dawson. Not because he did anything wrong, just I think we were just giving him a taste. Obviously, it was a last-minute inclusion, and we'll get him back. I could see maybe a Biggie coming in for him because Biggie is pretty athletic and can play a bit smaller. But, I don't think we need too many changes after a pretty solid performance last week. So, all right, let's just get into the changes now. Where are we here? Oh, okay. Incredibly simple. Jackson Archer's in for Miller Bergman. Other than that, nothing to talk about. Let's have a look at Port. Jordan Sweet, Connor Rosie, Lockie Jones out for Dixon, Vicentini, never heard of him, and Josh Sins. Okay. Obviously, Connor Rosie being in is bad for us. He's a very good player. But Charlie Dixon going out is fantastic. But hey, Tom Hawkins was out against the Cats, and that didn't do too much. Look, I'm not too unhappy with that, to be honest. I think most people just sort of deserve their spot. I'm not sure what sort of dirt Darcy Tucker has on Alistair Clarkson to continuously be getting a game. But here we are, I guess. Pretty disappointed that Hugh Greenwood maybe isn't in for Tucker. He's someone I probably should have mentioned. Greenwood, Hanson Jr. and Stevens are the emergencies. Greenwood, Stevens should definitely be playing over Darcy Tucker. Other than that, yeah, not too unhappy. I think Lazaro has been a bit underwhelming. I really like Charles Lazaro and I really want him to do well, but he's had an incredible pre-season, but maybe hasn't quite done it. So, yeah, I would probably like, I think he's on his last legs at the moment until he has ripping VFL form and comes back. Toby Pink is still in, maybe going to play in the forward line again. Forward line Toby Pink is, what does Marnie say all the time? My Roman Empire. Not that I really understand what that means, but hey, I'm a boomer. It'd be interesting to see as well if Eddie Ford will start as the sub. I guess they name that on the day, don't they? But I would have liked to see a Hugh Greenwood in here for a Darcy Tucker. I think that'd maybe be the change I would make now I'm thinking about it, because Port's midfield is quite big and physical, and I would like to see someone who's a little bit big and physical in there. I think Wardlaw Powell, LDU, might get a little bit bullied in there. Sheasel as well. Silky mover, but not the biggest body. So, look, I wish I could have maybe brought a slightly more exciting live team reaction, but there's barely any changes. Aiden Core, 150th game. Jason Horne-Francis, 50 games. Yuck. What a loser. All right, let's go. Let's talk about... Is there anything else to talk about in this game? Not really. I mean, Jordan Sweet coming in with... Yeah, I don't know. Jerry's going to cook them, so it doesn't really matter. You can't stop Helmet Jerry. Worried about Ollie Wines, obviously our future captain, Ollie Wines. As much as I think Horne-Francis is probably the most overrated player in the league, still a big body. Ollie Wines, Horne-Francis in there are going to bully us, I think, so it might be a tough day at the office. But who knows? Alir, Radically, Anzac, Thatcher down there. They're tall for a very small forward line for us. I mean, we can maybe take advantage. But yeah, interesting teams. All right, let's go to this week in the Barbershop. All right. So there's been a lot of footy chat at the Barbershop this week. The classic people coming in saying, oh my God, when's North going to win a game? Are you okay, mate? Is your mental health okay? And I say, no, I'm a North Melbourne fan. But I think the thing I'm realising this week is the number one question: do you regret winning that last game? Now, as North fans, we all say, no, of course not. But do we really believe that? Now, we talked about this in the interview with Jack just before, but I really do believe that us winning that last game is good. And if anyone's bullying you guys out there about this, this is what you say. You say, we've got an absolute ripper in Colby McKercher, and everyone who's coming in trying to rev you up about not getting Harley Reid hasn't watched Colby McKercher play at all. Colby McKercher has definitely been more of a consistent, good AFL footballer than Harley Reid this year. Now, Harley Reid's got the highlights. Harley Reid has mega star potential, and he's going to tear this league apart for many, many years until we sign him after he wants to leave Western Australia. But people act like because we didn't get Harley Reid, we didn't get anything, and that is not true at all. Colby McKercher is going to be an absolute weapon of a player for us for many, many years to come. So, look, don't let people bully you about the Harley Reid thing. Don't let people rev you up. This is going to be a one-week thing because they played well. Harley got his one highlight for the game, and then when they lose next week by 150 points, no one's going to be saying it again, guys. It's a game of runs, just like basketball. Being a North fan is a game of runs. This week has been bad because the Eagles won. Next week, when the Eagles lose, it'll be much easier for us. So That's been the main topic of discussion at the Barbershop. Thank you for listening to this very chill segment once again. And if you do want to come down and get a haircut, jump onto the Black and Brown Barbershop website, Black and Brown Barbershop opposite Mitcham Station. Request Josh, put further north in the comments so I know you're coming in and we can chat about north. Had a couple of clients come down. A client called Josh today came in, decked out in north gear. Good to meet you, mate. I know you're listening. Thank you for coming down. And we can chat north, guys. So if you're around the barbershop, please come on down. But thank you for listening to this fantastic segment once again. Now we can cut the smooth jazz. Okay. Other than that, there's really not much more to talk about. I sort of touched on this in the team reaction, but, you know, Callan Dawson and Colby McKercher could have played this week. Clarkson said that in his press conference. But because the bye is the week after, they're going to rest those guys and not worry about them. And I think that's probably the right decision. It'd be very interesting after the bye to see if Callan Dawson comes back in for any of these defenders down there, because I think we're holding up pretty well. I probably could see him coming out for a Will Dawson, but a Dawson for a Dawson is okay with me. Don't worry about Colby's injury as well. Clarko said he could have played this game if we needed, but once again, no point risking him before the bye. Give him some rest and he'll come back after the bye. Other than that, there's really not much news going on. In the North Melbourne world this week. Let's do some tips and then I'm going to get out of your hair. Once again, like last week, I said that all my tips are 100% sound and you can guarantee these are all going to come true. Now, I also did say last week that I've realised that I'm a rubbish tipper, even though I'm going to say that every single week. I always get the Thursday night game wrong. This is what I'm realising. I'm going to tip Sydney, of course, in the Thursday night game, but the Bulldogs are currently leading 37-33. So, look, I think Sydney will pull their heads in, but look, because I've said that now, if the Bulldogs win, you know it's because of me. Fremantle Collingwood. I got to start making more bold calls because I'm so bad at tipping. Let me say Freo this week. Screw it. Let me say Freo, I reckon. Over there, and Collingwood still don't fill me with confidence, you know. North Port, I've already tipped that. Hopefully you didn't skip over the interview with Jack, guys, if you didn't hear that. But, hey, spoiler, go back and listen to it. Carlton and Gold Coast, yuck. You know what? Oh, it's at Marvel. I'm going to tip the Blues, but if the Gold Coast get up, it'll be hilarious to see all the Carlton fans lose their mind. That would be fantastic. Geelong, GWS at GMHBA. Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants. The Cats, they started well because your old legs are fine until you start to get a bit of continuity in the year and you go, I'm bloody tired. I'm going to go the Giants down at GMHBA. Stupid name for a stadium anyway. Richmond, Essendon. Oh, God. Essendon by 100 plus, I reckon. Richmond, keep losing, please. Hawthorn, Brisbane. You know what? I hate Hawthorn so much. You guys know that. My gut's telling me Hawthorn are going to win. I hate tipping Hawthorn, and I feel so dirty right now. But I'm gonna tip Hawthorn, and I'm only going off a gut feel. Melbourne, St Kilda. Melbourne bounced back at the G. Adelaide, West Coast. Adelaide, put that team in the dirt, please. I'm over it. All right, that'll do. That's it, guys. Thank you for listening to the preview podcast once again. Thank you for the voice messages last week as well. Much better after I called out some people. Please continue bringing the voice messages. I want the same people every week so we get some regulars on here and people can get excited to listen to. Jared from Tassie always does a good job. There's other ones as well. I don't want to name everybody because I'll forget people's names. But thank you so much to everyone who does send those in every week. Don't feel like you have to do it every week. Just send one off. Get your name out there. Get your voice heard on the podcast. Say some controversial things. Make some big statements. I'm going to put them all in anyway, unless you say some stuff that'll get me cancelled. Okay. Social media, you guys know, please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Even if you don't watch it, it helps me out a lot. I really want to get the YouTube and the Instagram to 1,000 subscribers and followers. We are on track on Instagram. YouTube is on track too, but let's speed it up. Instagram is where I'm most active on social media as well. Marnie really controls the Twitter/X because that racks my brain. I control the Facebook, but I am very, very slow at replying to all the messages and things like that. So I will get around to it eventually. You've got more of a chance of me replying quicker on Instagram because I use it more common. Okay. Follow us, guys. Love us. We'll be here for you after the Port Adelaide game. Hopefully, we can get the podcast out Monday, if not Tuesday morning at the absolute latest. And then we've got some mid-season draft content coming. Joel, the Arden Street Super Spy, will be back. That's very exciting. And we've got an incredibly exciting mid-season review coming up with some very, very special guests. So anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Enjoy the rest of your night, day, morning. Enjoy your Friday, I guess, depending on when you're listening to this. And yeah, we'll be back for you guys very soon. So, I was going to say keep it real, but that sounds lame. See ya. Bye.